Hello and welcome to episode number 130 of the WP Café show, the show where we share the real, unfiltered experience of running our WordPress business. I'm Mark Wilkinson, and as always, I am joined by my co-host, Keith Devon. We're from Highrise Digital, a tiny agency building WordPress sites and also products. Today, we're going to be diving into a few topics. We're going to be looking at some new features of the Ollie theme. We're going to be looking at advanced custom fields. There's some new stuff there as well. And I'm sure we can chat about anything else that comes to topic as we get through these. So grab a brew, settle in and explore what it's like to run these businesses behind the scenes and build our products. You can follow us on X, formerly Twitter, at WP Café Show, and we're also on Blue Sky and the web at wpcafe.show. If you enjoy the episode, please subscribe and give us a like. It really helps. Leave us a comment and share this with your colleagues, friends, family, whoever you think might be interested in listening to it. And as always, we'd love to hear your thoughts. So if you are listening live on YouTube, please let us know in the chat who you are, where you're from. And if you've got any questions, comments, discussion items, please stick them in there as well. It's always nice to get some interaction. So before we start, how was your week, Keith? What have you been up to?
It's been a good week. What have I been up to this week? Same as the last little while, really, like bits and bobs. A few little bits of client work in terms of putting some new designs together for a client, building some new modules for another client. Some WordPress stuff, which has been interesting. Had an interesting one. I'll just quickly, we don't need to stay on this one, but had an interesting experience where I'd been supplied XD files. This is for a WordPress build, so I'm building a job board on someone's website. And I'd been supplied an XD design. I was like, okay, that's nice. Can I get full access to that XD design so I can inspect all the sizes, like the font sizes and the spacing sizes and all that kind of stuff? So they gave me full access. And I was like, sweet. So I start going, okay, clicking on that. Okay, that's 20 pixels. That's 16 pixels. That's this font. That's this color. Building the job board. And then I was taking some screenshots for comparison because there's a few things like that I couldn't do quite accurately. And I was just taking some screenshots to say, this is what you've asked for. This is kind of what you're getting. And I just realized that like, everything looked really kind of big whenever I was comparing it to like their live site. And by that, I meant like the font size, everything just seemed to be a little bit supersized. I was like, what's going on?
You mean comparing it to other pages?
Other pages on the site. Yeah. And I looked and I was like, the body font size on the homepage is 15 pixels, but on the body font size for the job board designs that they've given me is like 20 pixels. And then I was like, oh God, I've got a feeling that they've designed this at the wrong zoom. So I was it didn't matter what zoom I was at. 20 pixels is 20 pixels, whether you've set the zoom to 75%, 50%, 100%, 125%. But I was like, and I started cross-referencing a few things, and I was like, yep, everything is 33% smaller than it should be, or bigger than it should be, 25% bigger than it should. I can't remember which way around it is. But I was like, all of these just seem to be wrong by that same amount. I was like, oh God, that's what's happened. And right enough, I got in touch with the client and just said, I just noticed that like the font sizes and the spacings and the XD file seem to be a bit large, like by a factor of about this, like what's going on? And he's like, he gave a really kind of weird response, like, oh yeah, it's been designed at 1920 pixels. I'm like, well, pixels are pixels, so that doesn't make any sense. But effectively, yeah, he'd been designing it at 75% zoom.
So it was their error then, really?
100%. Yeah. So anyway, I resolved it quite easily just by like every value in my CSS just reduced by 25%. 25%. And that was okay. But yeah, it's just one of those ones that I was just like, what designer doesn't design it like 100%? But just
probably didn't know he was doing it.
How do you not know that?
I don't know.
And also, how are you putting together a design when a pixel value isn't the actual pixel value? Like, he hadn't eyeballed the whole thing because it was consistent. Like, it was a consistent 20 pixel font size. So it's not like it was 20 pixels in this module, 19 pixels here, and 21 pixels here because he's just eyeballed the whole thing. Like, it was consistently zoomed in or out. Really weird. Anyway, so had that fun to deal with, but I actually got that resolved really quickly, so it wasn't too bad.
Very strange.
Other than that, nice bike ride yesterday. 40 miles riding around the countryside, still in short sleeves. Don't think that's going to last much longer. But yeah, no, it's good. Been a good week. How about you?
Similarly, I've had lots of sales calls this week, which is interesting for the products for Job Relay. Well, say lots more than usual, which is good. And I just wondered if it got me thinking: is this like a time of year where people do it? Like we too seem to have spikes, don't we, in the product where you get sign-ups and things? I wondered. I haven't had time to go back and look at last year whether that was something, but that was positive. So yeah, some positive calls. Had a client wanting to integrate with Bullhorn, found something that might be useful, and then they've been a little bit unhelpful in terms of trying to getting it to work. But we'll see. We'll see if we can make it work. That's good. Adds another string to our bow for Job Relay if we can get that working.
Yeah,
which is good. Bit of golf yesterday, bit of bad golf yesterday. Getting it out of the way because it's the big competition tomorrow, which is the final one in this order of merit, which I'm currently leading by 3 points. Yeah. But we'll see. Fingers crossed. Hopefully the weather's going to be all right, which I think it is.
Yeah.
Which is good. We've got a few people watching or listening along. Hi, Nick. Thank you for joining us. Cameron, I think Cameron's in Australia, hence why it's evening there. Thank you for joining us. Excelams, a regular. Hello. Thank you very much for joining us. Nice to have you with us. And Cameron has a point to make about your zoomed-in design. I run into this all the time, especially on contract roles. Design done like that at like 1200 pixels, and then the first time the client decides to look at it in the full screen width is after it's built, and then they complain.
Yeah.
So it's a design issue, not a person.
Why does it look so small on my conference room projector?
Because you've designed it wrong.
Well, it's because it's a website and it's designed. Yeah, anyway. Yeah.
And Mark Housemead is also joining us. Hello there, Mark. Thank you for tuning in.
Hello, everybody.
Do you tune in? I don't think you tune in anymore, do you?
Yeah, you tune in. Why not? Do you not twiddle that little dial to get to the YouTube channel? No.
Yeah, and then it comes on. Woo! Yeah. However you get here, thank you for joining us. Right, so let's have a look at this topics for today. If I can find it in the show notes. So we've got advanced custom fields, some new stuff there to talk about, some new stuff in Ollie Pro. Quite a lot of new stuff actually in Ollie Pro over the last couple of weeks. And then any other bits and bobs that we get onto. So we'll start with advanced custom fields. They have brought out a new release. Congratulations to the team. That is 6.6. The blog post was dated October the 7th, so I assume that's when it came out, which was a couple of days ago.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, the headline feature in this is, well, it's kind of tied to Blocks version 3, as they're calling it. So for me, what happens is when we build ACF blocks, a lot of the blocks we build, well, say a lot of the blocks, some of the blocks we build, they have quite complex field groups. So let's say we were building show me the latest such and such a post type.
Yeah.
You might have like, how do you want to display them, like a drop down and then different options. You might have like show only from this category, all that sort of stuff. And it ends up being quite a complex list of fields where you've got some conditionals. So if they choose this template, we don't get to choose and so on. You get the idea. And in the current mechanism, prior to this release, you could either put the fields on the right-hand side panel. I don't know what you call that in Book Editor. Inspector. Sidebar. Just sidebar, is that what we're going to call it? Right. So the sidebar on the right-hand side, you could put the fields in there, but it's quite cramped and it's quite narrow. And particularly if you've got repeaters in there, it becomes very unwieldy very, very quickly. Or you can do what's called like a toggle with a preview and an edit mode. So the preview will show you what the block looks like on the front end, and then you can click the edit button and it gets replaced with the sort of ACF field interface that you're probably more familiar with before blocks. And that's okay. It's easy to work with, but obviously you lose that visual editing experience at that point in time. So what 6.6 appears to be bringing out is a new mechanism for that, so that when you press on the edit button, it actually loads those block fields, the field group with the fields that you've included, in like I'm going to call it an iframe overlay. I don't know whether it is its own iframe, but it's like an overlay on the right-hand side of the screen. So your screen almost splits in half. You can see in the background the block editor on the left, and on the right-hand side, you get to see the normal sort of interface with your fields. And obviously, you can then make those changes and close it down. I think that's a much more positive way forward than what we had.
Yeah.
I will say I've yet to use it because obviously it's only just come out and we haven't really had projects to go for it. I haven't had a chance to play with it, but I think that's a step in the right direction anyway. What do you think?
I'm very excited about this, mostly because we have a particular client where we have built blocks with ACF, and they're obviously on block version 2, the block API version 2. And I'm having a real nightmare keeping my custom CSS out of the editor styles because it's just really, really hard to find selectors that do that job well. So if this means that we can update to version 3 and magically we start to use the iframe version of the block editor and all my styles are gone from the editing interfaces, the editing UIs, then I'm going to be a very, very happy man. A couple of things I noticed in reading that release post. One is that this is opt-in. So if you have built blocks, this isn't just going to work whenever you upgrade ACF. You have to go into your block JSON and say that you want to use version 3 of the block API. So that's worth knowing. Don't just expect this change to happen. And something I thought was I really like the sound of, and I hadn't heard of before, was they mentioned that it is laying the groundwork for a lot of future improvements, one of which being inline editing of block data directly in the preview. So it sounds like they're going to try to make their certain fields more kind of native, kind of front-end editable, like the rest of the block editor is, which could be really good. It'd be really interesting to see how they do that. I think apparently it was previewed on I don't know, like a meetup or something recently. So they have a video of that somewhere.
A Friday YouTube sort of live.
I think that was it.
Thing every other Friday or every month? And I think it was done there.
Yeah, so that I didn't get to watch that, but that would be really interesting to see how they kind of anticipate that working. That would be another like huge win. The other just point that I kind of thought about was the color palette. So they said there's like improvements to the color palette. I didn't really get what those improvements were, except that one of them was that you could add custom colors. Sorry, this is the color picker. Sorry. So they've got a color picker field, and now you can create a color palette and add custom colors to the color palette. I kind of thought that was already possible, but I think maybe we've done that just in code before. So kind of cool that there's a UI for that. The UI is simply a field with comma-separated hex codes, apparently. So I've got a big question there for me is, does it have to be hex codes, or can it be comma-separated custom properties, or HSLA colors, or RGB colors? Or I don't see why it couldn't be. Like, presumably they're just outputting whatever's in that comma separated list as a CSS value. So mind you, if it's in the editor, it doesn't necessarily have custom properties available to it. So anyway, that's something that I thought was interesting, and it's potentially a bit of duplication. What I would love is for it to some way to look at the theme JSON and grab the color palette from there. That would be that would be ideal.
That's interesting. You should say that, because Cameron has just said you could add a color palette, but now it can pull from theme.json. And actually, when I look at the screenshot from the release, there is 2 radio buttons: custom color palette source, specify custom colors, or the other one is use colors from theme.json. So it looks like it already does that, which is cool.
Beautiful. Thank you, Cameron. And yeah, that'll be great. So that's another big win. Those are the things that I thought were interesting. I'm very excited about this. I didn't think this was coming anytime soon, because we talked about it recently, didn't we? The whole issue with block version 2 and 3. And
yeah,
I think someone, when I looked into it, it was like, yeah, this is on the roadmap, but actually it's going to be really difficult to achieve. Don't expect it anytime soon. And then it drops, and I was just like, yes, so good. So yeah, I'm really excited for this one.
So it does look like, obviously, we'd have to, all of the blocks that we're using would have to be upgraded to version 3.
Yeah.
I assume if you still have a block that's old, it won't do the new thing, unless it does it per block. So if this block is version 3, it will have this like sliding panel module.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Could do.
Oh yeah, good point. No, yes, I think you're probably right. But if any of your blocks are not version 3, you won't get the iframed editor.
Iframe, yeah. So you'll get some wins, but you'll still miss out if you don't upgrade them all. But interestingly, they do have an upgrade path as well on the. There's a link in the release that talks about more about version 3, and in there it says how to upgrade. It even says if you're using the old ACF register block type function, which we might be actually thinking about it for that project. Can't remember now. I'll have to check.
Yeah.
But there is options to do it for that as well, so that's good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's positive, definitely positive. The other things in that release are, where's it gone? Oh, I've lost it. Back to the top of the page. There's more with version 3 blocks than just what we've said. There's a list of stuff on here, various different little things that you might find interesting. But go and have a look at the website, advancedcustomfields.com. There's lots of little things that are coming, but that's big news, I think. I'd be interested to try that, especially when you've got those complicated blocks that have lots of fields in them. I'd like to give that a go and work.
I was using one the other day that we'd built that has a repeater field, and it was awful.
On the right hand side.
Actually, no, it was actually in the kind of in place editor, and it was still not enough space for it. If that had been on the right hand side, it would have been horrific. I think
repeater fields inherently are difficult to work with sometimes, aren't they?
Great.
I think they're not a brilliant experience. I don't know what's better though, interestingly. But anyway, they have their issues, but this will certainly help to fix those issues, I think. Yeah. And if anybody had a go with that, it'd be good to hear anybody else use ACF blocks that thinks that other things are missing. Be nice to hear your thoughts on it. We use them a lot. We do use them a lot. We haven't done that many projects recently. We're still working with them because we're working with our current clients, but they're far easier to work with than the native sort of style for us anyway.
Yeah,
easy to manage, easy to build, and easy to change as well when you want to change them across your site, which is good.
Yeah.
So that's Advanced Custom Fields version 6.6 released right now. So if you have automatic updates turned on, I guess you'll already be using it. So go and have a look at it, which is worth looking at. Next on our list is, in fact, last on our list almost, is Ollie Pro extensions. So if you don't know, OllieWP.com is where Mike McAllister is building his Ollie theme. Really good. We use it for the WP Café show. If you go to wpcafe.show, that is the Ollie theme being used. It's been obviously customized. In fact, I did pretty much most of that website. I think you came in and just fixed a few bits and bobs. So if I can do it, it must be reasonably good for design. And he has recently introduced, well, there's two things actually. One of them is the menu builder. I think we don't know if we mentioned this last week or not. That's a free plugin that can be used on any website, any block website, or what's it called? Site editing, which allows you to build more complex menus easier using the block editor. And rumour has it that might be sort of coming into core, I believe.
I saw something to that effect recently,
we'll
that the core team were looking at merging that work in, which makes loads of sense. But I said to you earlier, Mark, is like, I know this is WordPress, I know this is open source. I don't know how Mike feels about that, but there was a little part of me that was just like, I don't know. I guess because it's a free plugin as well, but like, it's obviously a marketing tool for his Ollie theme and suite. And all the work that he's put into that then just gets kind of gobbled up straight away by WordPress. I don't know. It feels almost like the right thing to do, but also just there's something about that makes me slightly uncomfortable. So, yeah.
Be interesting to see what his thoughts are on that. I'm sure he's worked hard on it, so we'll see.
Yeah.
So new extensions as well as the menu. Is it called Menu Designer? I think it's called Menu Designer. That was introduced probably last week or a couple of weeks ago. There's now Ollie Pro extensions, and they include advanced grid controls for pixel perfect responsive layouts. Be interesting to see what that is. Is that different breakpoints? We'll see. Animation designer to bring your content to life. We were talking about this before, weren't we? Because we do animations on blocks. We'll come back to that. Keyboard shortcuts to make you feel like a power user. Advanced group controls with clickable cards and smart sticky positioning. That sounds very much to me like group links, so you can link a group. But I don't know if that's like a card group, and then you can.
Nick Diego had a plugin that I don't think he ever released it on the repo.
No, it was on GitHub, wasn't it?
He had a GitHub plugin that turned groups into links, which was good. But recently we had a problem with it because why did we have a problem with it?
I don't remember. Did we?
Yeah, there's something like not a Z index, like a tab index issue or something with those links.
Right.
There's some accessibility problem with them.
Okay.
Yeah, I need to have another look at that. It'd be interesting to see if the Ollie version fixes that.
Yeah. Button icons from a curated library. Hover colors for interactive elements. Hover colors is something I've always thought was missing from the editing experience in work. We don't seem to be able to set hover colors very easily, unless it's just me.
I think you can for links and buttons, but I think now, because he's obviously got clickable groups, you can now do it for like group background colors and text and everything. So I think that's probably why that was brought in. That's the kind of extension. Yeah. Makes sense.
So yeah, some cool new tool. Cool new. I can't speak today. Cool new tools. I'll do it slowly. For people to play with. If you're already an Ollie customer, I believe they are included. If you're not, then go and buy a license. It's worth it, I think, for what you want. For our WP Café show, it's a really quick way of getting a nice branded site up and running, and it kind of does the job.
Yeah. So just to kind of go into a bit more detail on some of those features, the advanced grid and I think advanced columns lets you create breakpoints and then do things like change the grid at those breakpoints. And I think for columns, it lets you reorder the elements. So you can, like on mobile, the last column can be the first thing on mobile, for example. I've never come across too many instances where I've really needed to do that, but usually, like if you're reading left to right, then you also want it to go top to bottom when it's on mobile. But there's probably circumstances where that makes some sense. But I thought that was quite cool, and it's an introduction into how might breakpoints work in the block editor going forward. I thought that was pretty interesting. Animations, I thought, was interesting. So it looks like exactly kind of what you'd want it to be, in the sense that you can click on a block and you can say, I want this to fade in, or like kind of like fade up. I want it to happen. You can choose whether it happens on page load or scroll. You can choose the speed of that. You can choose the like distance if it's like a movement.
It sounds a bit like Microsoft PowerPoint when you're setting.
I think it's very like that, like transition effects or like animation effects in PowerPoint. Yeah, it is very like that. One of the ones that was cool was that you can animate child elements of things like the columns block and probably the grid block. So you can say animate them sequentially. So and then you set a 0.2 second offset, so it'll like fade one in, then fade the other. Then fade the other
yeah. So it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and so on. Yeah.
Which is something
that's nice.
We've done before. We've got a different solution for. So initially, I was watching the video and I thought, oh, this is great. I can ditch my animation system. We'll just use this going forward. And I thought, actually, no, I won't, because as much as what he's built is awesome, I don't want to have to set animations on every block.
Yeah.
That is a massive pain. What would be really cool is if like you could do that at a global level. So I could set an animation for H2s, for instance, or I could set an animation for the columns block when this particular column or block style is selected. Because the way we do it, it's hard coded in our clients' themes, which obviously isn't ideal, and it's not, that's not what Mike's trying to do with Ollie at all. But the way we do it is we just have a function, a JavaScript function, that we pass a comma-separated list of selectors, CSS selectors to. So I can say, select the WP, like the columns block with this particular style. And then I build those animations in CSS. I could probably standardize those like he has. To say, do fade up for this type of thing, slide left from this kind of thing, all that kind of thing. But it means that every time one of our clients is editing their website and they add a particular block with a particular style, or a particular block that's nested under a other particular block, the animations just happen. They don't need to worry about them. And if we want to change the animations in the future, I just do that in the CSS. So
every block gets changed.
The animation speeds are a little bit, we just want to slow them all down a bit. No problems. I'll do that in one place. So
I think this is the age-old problem, isn't it, with blocks? That it's not just animations; it's everything. Like, to do it per block is not necessarily the best way for when you're building a website for a client. If you're messing about with your WP Café site and it's fine, but not for a big website, like you say, because how do you make that global change? We want to speed up all the animations on all of those card blocks on all of the website. You don't want to have to edit every page and say, I've got to go and change that setting and change that setting and change that setting.
Yeah.
You want to do it once and it just works. Which is probably better.
This is where things like, I think this is the kind of problem that things like Etch, which by the way, I haven't been following at all recently, are trying to solve. Like that's the kind of paradigm difference between designing themes for the masses and designing really good client experiences. Like these are the subtle differences. And I feel like, probably said this a million times before, most of the WordPress project is geared towards the former and not the latter. Most of the WordPress project, the design decisions, the development decisions that are made by people building themes for the masses, not building custom client themes. And that probably should be where the general focus is, but it just feels like, sometimes the solutions that we need are lacking slightly. But yeah.
And to be fair to Mike, he is building the Ollie theme for the masses, isn't it? That's exactly what this product is. So
he's doing the right thing.
Probably the right
clients.
decision. Exactly, that's the right decision. But like you say, it's good to see some of these options in action, if nothing else, to sort of learn how they've been accomplished, and maybe that will help future features in the block editor. Maybe like the menu, when we were saying this, this is how we could do it. Maybe that will help. In terms of bringing that forward. Which is good. A few comments. So pixels and things, thank you for joining us. ACF 6.6 is looking pretty exciting. I'm also excited about it. Hopefully it'll be a big improvement on specific types of blocks, but hopefully overall as well. And Cameron says, I am convinced no one involved in building core has built a website for a client in the past decade.
Yeah, that's what it feels like.
It can at times definitely feel like that for sure. So hopefully, I don't know. I'm sure it's getting better all the time.
What the percentage of WordPress sites custom built, the kind of agency stroke freelancer built WordPress sites are compared to off the shelf. I've installed WordPress and bought Ollie or bought Elementor with a theme. I wonder what that percentage is. It'd be fascinating to know because I've got no idea. I've got, the client stuff could be very, very small. Like it could be in the under 5% kind of.
Well, if we take Job Relay, so that's recruitment agency websites essentially, because that's what we're integrating with. Most of the people that come to us for Job Relay, obviously there's a lot of developers come. We're building a site for client X and we need to integrate, so we found this. So they're building sites like we do.
Mm-hmm.
And even a lot of the recruiters that come, like I have a site and I want to do X, I've Googled it and I found you, then they book a call. They usually have a web person. I'm not going to call it whether it's development. So they haven't necessarily built their site. There are some that have done it, and there are some that have had it built and then they've left, so they're left with it on their own.
But usually a professional has built the site.
Yeah, they haven't just sat down and thought, right, I'll install WordPress and I'll start building. They haven't done that, and I can't really think of anyone that has done that. I'm sure there are some examples that we've integrated with, but not very many at all. Most have a person or an agency or someone that's built the site that is a professional, like you said.
How many of those professionals have written any code? Because I think that makes a difference. Because I
would say most of the people I deal with are builders, not developers.
Yeah.
So they're using tools to build, whether it's Elementor or Divi or another page builder. They're not developers as such. They've probably written code, like we all do. We see something that does something, we copy and paste it and see if it works. I guess so. I'm sure there are lots that we've worked with who are proper developers, but most seem like they are builders to me rather than developers. I think that's quite common, to be honest, amongst this is one specific industry, obviously, so it's not by any means appropriate for everything, but who knows? It might be.
Yeah.
Who knows? Right. That's it. We've finished our topics. We thank you for joining us, if you have, and thanks for getting involved with your comments and questions and things into the chat. This goes out as a podcast. Keith will rapidly download the audio and upload it to the WP Café Show website, where it will become a podcast. So if you do want to listen to it as a podcast, you can subscribe, and you will get the next one in your feed of choice, wherever that might be. Again, if you've enjoyed the show, please give us a like, leave us a comment, share this around, subscribe to the channel, and I hope, checking the calendar, that we will be back next week. And there's nothing in that says we wouldn't be. So hopefully we'll see you all same time, same place next week. Again, thanks for joining us.
Bye-bye.